It's a full moon. Of course, you can't focus on it. They say there are two kinds of photographers: art photographers and recording photographers. I'm clearly a recording photographer. That said, the truth is I've done so much video editing in the past couple of years that I'm just so sick of it that I decided this gonzo journalistic one-take approach is the only way I could do this. So what you see is what you get. Well, here's a nice setup that somebody has. It's a sleigh in front of the house. Nice Christmas tree in the window. It's Christmas in not Killarney, but Urbana. Not a lot else in the neighborhood here as we pan around. Here's some more lights. There's some nice lights. And another house full of lights. I like this. The parallelogram with the roof outlined in lights. And I apologize for the light levels, but it is a difficult situation because it has to be dark for them to turn on the lights. Here we are back at the parallelogram house again. A little closer. I especially like this. There's a kind of a Jacob's ladder kind of a thing going on over here. I don't know if it really the camera doesn't really do it justice. Well, it's going downwards now, it's going back upwards like a Jacob's ladder. A few more houses here in the distance, but you know, a lot of houses with no lights at all. Here we are at the corner. This is what the locals call Candlestick Lane. Most people know to turn off their headlights, or they did an hour ago when I scouted the location. But now, not so much. Another hour to drink after dark. It's about 6 p.m. on Sunday, the 23rd of December, 2012. It used to be that every house in the neighborhood here had lights. In fact, I understand from someone who used to live here that it was in their purchase contract that they had to have lights. But there are a few, you know, individualists who, you know, who can have completely blank yards now. More and more people have the individuality to protest this use of resources or whatever. Still, it's a nice gesture, something to remember from the good old days, the Olden Times, as my kids call it. So, as this dwindles, I thought it might be useful to record it. Those of us who've lived around here off and on, I know this as a sort of an annual tradition. Some people have put extreme amounts of difficulty and thought into designing and then putting up all these lights. Celebrate Christmas, I suppose. Celebrate the birth of their Savior or something anyway. Maybe just a financial tradition. And here's a blue light special in this yard. It looks like kind of a minimalist approach, but I'll tell you the truth, I kind of like it. Whoop. Everybody has the required candlestick. Hey, they're participating, they get a candlestick in the front yard. Another candlestick. I don't know if the candlesticks came first. I think that the candlesticks are there because it's called Candlestick Lane. That's a difficult lighting situation. Sorry for the extreme pans here, but it's better just look at washed out headlights. Well, now I don't know if that's a social commentary or not, but the king and the baby both seem to not be shining as brightly as these people upstaging them. Now you have to admit, it's nice to harken back to a time when people actually had the extra time and money and productivity to do things like this. Imagine all the man hours and all the kilowatts. Seems odd that this is a neighborhood in which there are no sidewalks, and yet this tradition sprung up here. You would think that people living in a part of the town where they don't spend enough revenues to install sidewalks wouldn't be so celebratory, but sort of no accounting for human behavior. I do not understand why color in this doesn't seem to be showing up very well. Whoa. Okay. And I think we can go on up this direction. If the automatic functions on the camera for focus and exposure value aren't working very well, I apologize. It's quite cold out. I think it's about 20 degrees. But of course, they grow tough stock here in the Midwest. There are not a lot of other people out on foot here. Could see one person. Now seem to have a spate of. Now this street used to all be completely full, every house, but we're seeing some emptiness here. Individualists, I suppose, expressing their freedom not to participate in this tradition. I don't know. We'll see how the camera does. See the moon, and now you see this. It's not a lot of light, but it's extremely high contrast because it's dark, and then there are lots of pinhole sources. Here we have somebody who actually has multimedia presentation. It's audio and light. Now it seems to be the audio is about Jesus, but the video seems to be mostly about Santa. Of course, it's very difficult to tell Jesus from Santa. You know, I mean, they're both strangers who come and give you valuable gifts. But now I wanted to actually contribute to this, and I tried to hire an artist friend of mine, Frank Garvey, to make a statue, a very lifelike figure actually, of Santa Claus being crucified on a cross. Actually, an impersonation of Santa Claus with a, you know, pint of whiskey in his pocket and anyway, being crucified. It looked like a dead person in the front lawn in the middle of this, but we never really got it completed. So I guess it's concept art. The crucifixion of Santa Claus. The pinnacle of Western culture. Jesus in the sleigh, giving presents to all the little boys and girls. We appear to be reaching the end of Candlestick Lane. Here is 1308 Eastern Drive, Urbana, Illinois, and it is the last family who wishes to participate, apparently, in this tradition. Spatially, temporally, we have a few years left, I believe. And now as it disappears into the sunset. 1404. Back at the corner with my fingers freezing, or as my father used to joke, like the Eskimo sitting on an ice floe. At the end of his story says, "My tale is told."